One bright morning, Michael woke up in his luxurious penthouse overlooking the city. Everything seemed perfect. His successful business, expensive cars, designer clothes, and VIP lifestyle had made him a celebrity in his circle. But as he stepped in front of his mirror that morning, something alarming happened. He couldn't remember his own name. Frantically, he searched his penthouse, looking for any clues. He found a stack of business cards with the name Michael Johnson printed on them. He sighed in relief, but something didn't feel right. The name felt unfamiliar, almost as if it belonged to someone else. He couldn't shake off the unease. That day, when Michael walked into his office, people greeted him, but their faces seemed blurry, their voices hollow. The usual lively environment felt distant and cold. He brushed it off as stress from work, trying to focus on the day's tasks. But as time passed, his confusion deepened. Simple things became foreign: where the coffee machine was, how he knew his assistant, or even why he was in that office in the first place. He kept it to himself, fearing that if anyone found out, his hard-earned reputation would crumble. Locking himself in his office, he started digging through personal files, trying to piece together the missing fragments of his life. And then, he stumbled upon a series of strange emails from an anonymous sender, warning him about something called the Identity Project. The messages seemed cryptic at first, but the more he read, the more he felt they were about him. With growing dread, Michael hurried home and tore through his archives until he uncovered a file titled Project MKI, Personal Identity Wipe. It detailed an experimental procedure he had undergone 5 years ago, a voluntary erasure of part of his past, designed to give him a fresh start with a new identity. The document revealed that his current self, Michael Johnson, was a construct, a manufactured persona meant to overwrite the memories of his former life. But why had he done this? According to the file, he had once been someone entirely different: Daniel Miller, a man plagued by failure and regret. Wanting to escape his past, Daniel had chosen to wipe his identity, believing that becoming someone new would free him from his pain. And for a while, it had worked. Michael Johnson was wealthy, admired, and successful. But now, the cracks were starting to show. As the days passed, his memory deteriorated further. He couldn't recall where he'd grown up or even simple details like his favorite food. His friends became strangers. Desperate for answers, he traced the company behind the Identity Project and found its headquarters, an imposing building hidden from the public eye. Inside, an older woman greeted him as if she had been expecting him. "We warned you this might happen," she said with a sad smile. "You can erase your past, but not who you are." Michael demanded to know what had truly happened. Who was he? Why had he erased his past? The woman handed him a folder. In it were photos of a man named Daniel Miller, living a middle-class life with a wife and 2 children. The memories flooded back in fragments. He had once been Daniel. But the pressure of being average, in a world obsessed with wealth and success, had driven him to abandon everything and everyone he loved. Michael returned to his penthouse, clutching the folder, and spent the night trying to force more memories to return. He wanted to remember his children's faces, his wife's voice, the life he had so easily discarded. But no matter how hard he tried, the images were hazy. The faces, the emotions, everything felt distant, like a dream he could no longer grasp. And then it hit him. Those memories were gone, permanently erased during the procedure. His attempt to start fresh had cost him everything, leaving him a man with no past to return to. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't go back to being Daniel Miller. His wife and children were lost to him, not just in life, but from his very mind. In trying to create the perfect version of himself, he had unknowingly destroyed the parts that made him whole. In the weeks that followed, Michael stood outside the house he once called home, watching through the window as another man played with the children he couldn't remember. His heart ached with a deep emptiness, but he knew he could never reclaim what he had lost. The life he had traded for success was gone, forever out of reach. The lesson was painfully clear. In the pursuit of perfection and external success, Michael had sacrificed his true self, losing the things that really mattered: his family, his values, and his identity. He had sought to be someone better, only to end up as a hollow shell of the man he once was. If this story made you think about the choices you make, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking life lessons.